Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Relationship Mastery Series, focusing on the principles to a passionate life in relationships and dynamite families. And I've been able to pull together 25 wonderful experts from all over the world. So we're getting perspectives from all over the place. And they're going to share with you their years of experience, and expertise, and their knowledge, and give you some very valuable tips that you can use, both in terms of finding that relationship that you want, but also being able to retain that and sustain it. And if they break, which sometimes our relationships do once in a while, knowing how to repair them quickly and get them back on track, and looking at how this spills over and really affects the family and the kids. So um, I'm really glad that you're all joining us. I'm Alan Darbonne. I'll be your host. And today, I'm very, very happy to have with us Bari Lyman. And Bari is the founder and creator of the Meet to Marry method. And she has helped, and this method has helped thousands of single people and both men and women to be able to find what's happening in terms of what may be blocking their being able to find that relationship, and then what they can do to actually get past that and be able to manifest the relationship that they really want and deserve. She's also the author of Meet to Marry, a dating revelation for the marriage-minded. And this is some writing that actually earned very nice praise from Steve Covey. Uh, Another thing I'd like you to be aware of is she has created the perfect match starter kit. And this is something that you can right away get a hold of at her website. And we'll be giving you more detailed information about her website and everything as we go along. But she really focuses on helping people, and it doesn't matter what age you are or what your situation is. What she's going to offer is something that will help all of you. And I want to let you know that Bari is actually going to offer a free gift to everyone that is watching. And so stay tuned to the very end. She'll be telling you what that gift is, and I'll be telling you exactly how to get to the link to be able to have access to that. So first off, I really want to welcome you, Bari. I've been looking forward to this interview, and I'm so happy to see you here today.
Thank you so much, Alan. It's so great to be here. I appreciate it.
So one thing I'd like to know just offhand is in terms of the history of this, how did you actually come to this whole Meet to Marry method?
So that's a good question. I was relationship challenged for a very long time. More than 15 years I was dating and always attracted the wrong people. You know, finding people to go out with was not a problem, but I really found myself stuck in this frustrating pattern of being with men who were attractive and successful, but at the end of the day, they were not for me. They were emotionally unavailable, and they were kind of go nowhere relationships that were based on more of chemical attraction than a clear vision. So I walked in the shoes of the people that I work with and that I support. Yeah. And on that journey, you know, I turned it around, and, you know, here I am today, thank God, married for 13 years to the love of my life and my partner, Michael.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So this is has been, it sounds like a strong passion of yours for a while, and has evolved through this time. So I'm curious, at this point in terms of your experience, what is the biggest complaints that singles have that you encounter?
So singles complain about the things I complained about. There's no one worth dating where I live. It's terrible. Someone said the other day, oh, dating sites are so yucky. They complain about it would have been easier 10 years ago. I need to move. all complaints like that about the external things that are happening in their dating life, and they would really like it to be different. And it really can be different. You don't need to move. You don't need to move. You can have exactly what you want right where you live. Yeah. Because that's what happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in this type of work for over 50 years now as a clinical psychologist and relationship coach.
Yes.
And that certainly is something before the internet dating, the complaints were worded a little differently, but they were basically the same. And
right.
It's wonderful that you're able to zero in on this. What's the biggest myth that you think that's out there around this?
The biggest myth is that people think that, again, that it's outside of themselves. People think that if they move, if they fix themselves, if only I change, that you'll find the right person. It's like, I'll find the right person and it'll work out. But my philosophy is very different than that. It's not about finding the right person. First, it's about being the right person. And when you are that right person, and I'm not speaking about changing yourself, I'm talking about changing your own lens about who you are right now, being truly vulnerable to the right person. Because most of us, we have all these defenses up,
Right.
I know what I don't want, right? And then that kind of thing literally brings to you what you don't want. So that's a big myth. It's not about finding the person. Your right person is out there waiting for you. It's about being the right person who's open and ready and vulnerable with a very clear vision about what you want and you need, and being in the right action about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about really doing something that's absolutely wonderful for you as an individual, and it also opens the path for these other benefits in terms of the relationship.
It does. It's you know what? It's so life affirming. It really, really is. And when you be the one, then you can be the one in that relationship, and you can sustain it, and you can actually welcome the right person into your life when you're being the one, because the focus is not external. It's about, I deserve love. I'm perfect the way I am. I don't need to be 10 pounds lighter. I don't need to make more money. My situation is just fine the way it is. And the right person will embrace that. So beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and the evidence is out there. I mean, if you really get out of your own head and look around, you'll realize that every type of person has another person that they are in that kind of relationship with, and also of all different types. So opening to that possibility is right away is a huge shift.
It is just opening and just believing, and then learning, like, what is it that I need in a relationship that's different than what someone else needs in a relationship, and what's my vision? And then you go out and you find people like that. So instead of dating kind of unconsciously like I used to do, we raise the consciousness and the vibration, and then we actually go out and we do become like an attraction magnet to it. But it's not just law of attraction. That's only one little piece of it.
Right.
It's committed action and a clear vision.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what sort of things have you seen that people do that actually end up repelling what it is they say they're wanting?
Yeah. So what we all do, we take stuff from the past, things that have happened, traumas, maybe a disappointment, maybe a broken engagement. And so that happens in the past, but we insert it into the present. And so in the present, what's repelling is we're like, well, I don't want to get hurt again, and I'm not going there again, and I'd rather be alone than be with, be in that situation again. And we're so wounded, and we don't even realize how closed off we are to love. So we're doing the motions, but inside we're wounded, and we actually have these walls and barriers up that repel love because those things from the past haven't really been handled. And often we think they've been handled because maybe you analyzed it in the past, you know, but my clients, my students, they have a lot of incompletion, right? And it's so repelling. It's like if you're afraid of getting into a relationship because you're going to get hurt again, well, what's coming back at you?
Right.
Nothing, right?
Right.
Fear.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has to be so authentic.
So speaking about that, what say a little bit more about that in terms of being ready for.
Yes.
A lot of people are looking for marriage, but they have really not checked into themselves on the level of knowing, are they actually ready for that?
And that's exactly it. And that speaks to the gift that I'm going to share with your listeners. It's really about, I call it being, I don't want to tell him that I'm marriage minded, or I don't want her to know that, you know, this is my dream, because maybe I'll scare the person off. And to that I say, great, scare them off. Because if someone doesn't want what you want, they want to live in another country for a year. You want a huge family. You want to have animals. You want to live a certain way. That's your vision. If someone doesn't share that vision, great. Then don't wait 6 months or a year or 5 years or 10 years. Share what you're about. And then you will meet that person who says, I want that too. I'm with you. That's what I want. I love it. And they lean into you. And it's a beautiful process when you're open to it, when you're not carrying shame. Yeah.
And how do you counsel people in terms of how they share that, what their vision is? Because there are ways, and I know from your experience, you know there are ways that people do that where it is repelling, but that is something that it's important to own.
Totally. So again, my program, starts with the inner shifting where you get you're marriage ready. And then the second part, then you're dating, right? But the first part is inner, because we need to be ready. So once you're ready and you've cleared all like in Yiddish, we say mishigas, you cleared all the stuff that has been in your way, then you're free to express what you want, but not in a desperate, needy way. No, it's an empowered, vulnerable way. One of my participants recently, she'd broken up with someone. She got back on a dating site, and the guy said to her, why are you dating? Like, why are you on the site? And she said, because I want to fall in love and meet and get married. And he said, awesome. That's what I'm looking for too. You share your vision. I've been working for 15 years, focusing on work, but now I'm really ready. I really want to find my woman or my guy to have children with, to travel, have adventure, to live a spiritual life. And then you say to the person, and how about you? What's your vision? So it's more of like an inquiry. It's not like, my time clock is ticking. I have to have a baby this year. No, it's not about that. It's about, this is where you are in your life, and you want to share that, and then you will meet someone who shares your vision. So it defies conventional rules, and that's all, like my client said, yucky. Instead it's just authentic. You're, like you said, you're a shining light, and you're ready to welcome what's in store. Yeah. Patient. Yeah. And loving. Yeah.
Yeah. And that whole aspect of when a person has done that inner work that you talked about, they're much more likely to be in the place of recognizing, what I'm really wanting and what's coming up in me. is something that I have a total right to. This is good. And
Exactly.
likewise, the person they might just start dating, whatever they want is good. So the issue becomes, this is what you want and what I want fit. You're not wrong.
Exactly.
I'm not wrong. We both are right.
No.
Let's be honest with each other and save ourselves a year or two.
That's right. And people have to know what that vision is and what their core values are and what their emotional needs are. And then when you meet that right person, your life is even further expanded. Like my husband and I manifested the life that I have with him. Before it was so chemical attraction. They would choose me and I would feel like someone's got to change. But in this new paradigm as an empowered dater, my husband, I knew by then I wanted a man who wanted to be with me all the time, work with me, to share life. I love animals. I love saving them. I just, and a spiritual life, a Jewish life, And so when we met, we had conversations about that. It's not that we liked the same things, right? He was sailing and I was doing like personal growth and all the things. But when I shared with him about what I was up to about personal growth and that we could take a class about adding structure to a vision, he said to me, how do we do it? How do we register? Whereas in the past, people are like, why do you even want to do those things?
Right.
Why do you want to do personal growth?
Right.
Why can't it just be enough? Whereas when he saw me and who I was and what I was about, he saw a life. And in him, I saw the same thing. Like, wow, I could see it. And then all the dating was dating to marry, all about conversations around that.
Right.
And I'm grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, and you make a wonderful point that people don't need to match on every single place, but it's a matter of communicating with each other. What are those things that may even be just a handful, but they're really vital things that that when you're being and you're in relationship to that, then you're fully alive. And if you drop that out of your life, something kind of gets lost, energy, and we kind of dry up in that area that kind of goes in other areas. But the thing that I've seen with couples is, and I know this is what you're talking about as a process, is that once you know what your partner's dreams are, the couples I've seen that really do fabulous and the passion stays alive, is they each commit to helping that partner make those dreams come true. It may not be their own dream, but their dream is to be as deeply connected and supported as they can be with the partner. And that is dynamite. And when the kids and the family see parents doing that kind of thing, and they realize, wow, look at what happens when two people love each other and support each other versus what happens all too painfully many other times. So
that's right.
Very, very good point you're making.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think there are definitely certain key elements that we need to have to enter into a healthy, conscious relationship. And yeah, it's to have empathy and to support the other person, to get out of what you're bringing out is so, so important. And that's how you sustain a beautiful lifetime partnership.
Yeah, I was just checking something here. I thought I saw something technical go off on my computer. I wanted to be sure.
No.
We're still going.
You're okay.
Could you say a little bit more about that particular topic in terms of the elements that you've come to realize through your own personal experience, but also your experience with your clients that really seem like the essential elements of a relationship that, because there's one level to meet. It's another thing is how do you sustain that?
Exactly. So there, I have found, in my experience, there are 3 specific key elements that make a marriage awesome that we must each bring to the table. And they are, we must be mature. We must be mature, because to be in a relationship, it can't be me, me, me. It has to be about we. It has to be about us. We have to be generous. We have to be generous to our beloved. Generous, and not money only, but with our time, with our patience, with our love, all of it. Generous, a generous listener. And the third thing is, we must be self-aware, because if we're not self-aware, then we're projecting our own stuff on our beloved. So when something is said, it's a trigger from the past and we get into it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we know and take personal responsibility for our own childhood, our own triggers, it's like if a husband and a wife, and he says, well, oh, I don't prefer that meal, or that was burnt, or I don't like that shirt. You can either react and be like, or you could know that this is the person that loves you, and just because she doesn't maybe love that shirt, or he doesn't love that meal, he still loves you. She still loves you.
Right.
So I think that we have to be conscious, and being conscious, and these ways are not age related. I meet people in their 20s and 30s who are very, they vibrate high, and sometimes older people sometimes haven't gotten to that level. So I think it's very individual, and it's that conscious way of being that allows, because when I hear people say, oh, we grew apart, no. You just stop being conscious. You stop caring. You stop giving, and you're about me, 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 because I think that you could always grow together. You can always keep it alive. You just have to not ever stop dating or become selfish.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's the 2 elements. One is that continuing to grow, so you continue to fascinate yourself and be fascinated to your partner.
Yes.
The other is remembering some of the things you did that attracted the 2 of you to each other to start with, and maybe begin to practice some of those things and realize that, oh my gosh, that rekindles some of that excitement. We've been so familiar, which is beautiful. On the other hand, it can get kind of boring being too familiar, but the human brain loves novelty. And so we have a responsibility there.
I think too, when you're planning and you're truly best friends, like my husband, no matter what, even if he goes out for an hour, we work together, we played it, we do everything together. If he's gone for an hour, I still have so much to tell him. There's always so much to discover. We plan vacations, we have date nights, we rescue animals, we do projects. So I think it's just a full life, and that's where maturity, generosity, and this self-awareness really play a role of keeping it just connected, your family, that kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a client who said, okay, I'm ready, I really want to be in a relationship that really is very good for me this year, what recommendation, what would be the number one thing that you would recommend? Okay, this is basically, you need to do this. What might that be?
You need to get out of your own way and discover and dissolve those things that are getting in your way. Clear your own blockages, blind spots, but not intellectually. Because so many people say to me, oh, I did that already.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, if you're finding yourself stuck single after years and you keep meeting the same wrong people, or you're not dating, you're kind of avoiding dating, right there, that's a warning sign that there's something within you that doesn't need to be fixed, but needs to be released, needs to be authentically released, not just intellectually, analyzing things doesn't change things. You just know more. And these days, we're so in our heads. We're so intellectual. You know, I've been in and out of therapy from 12 years old. I did the Landmark Forum. I was so self-aware, yet I was still a codependent people pleaser, looking good on the outside, but I was not able to identify or attract true intimacy out of fear, you know, that there was really something wrong with me. And that was very much hidden from my view, you know, because I handled that. I handled it.
Right, right.
But so, right, so we need to really take personal responsibility, own up that we have some things that need to be cleared up and handled. And then we need to learn how to date. We need to create a vision and then learn how to date in an empowered way, in a vulnerable, in a real way. And those, it takes skills, because it's not enough to just get out and do a makeover or look good or try and conquer men or figure out women. I don't see it. I don't see it that way. I see it as being, you know, a very intimate, you know, self-opening experience. That's what someone needs to do.
Great.
Yeah, that's what I did for myself, and that's really what's worked. And then your whole lens changes wherever you are. I met my husband on the very same dating site that previously spit out emotionally unavailable people. My introductions were to those people. It was like being stuck in the matrix of wrong, and I was creating it. Didn't know it. It was my own energy. When all of that shifted within myself, then, wow, look how many marriage-minded, healthy men there are. You know, it was so unfamiliar. If a healthy guy would have crossed my path in those days,
Right.
Boring. What? Right? So sometimes we're just not seeing, we're not recognizing someone who could be amazing because of our own lens, and we tend to gravitate to the familiar. So if we're,
yeah.
So yeah, but
that's so important.
Yeah, it's all possible.
Yeah,
it is.
And if the familiar is something that we're not liking, taking that step to say, well, what is the common denominator here, and realizing, it's me.
That's right. It's me. And that's what happened to me in my 15 years. I was dating the last of these people, and I was treated like worse than ever. And then I realized, like, holy moly, it's me. I'm the common denominator. Because you could have said, oh, there's no healthy guys here in South Florida where she lives. Maybe I need to go to New York. But it would be the same thing. So it all points to personal responsibility, and that takes courage. It takes courage. It takes forgiveness. It takes the willingness to say, okay, be patient. You know, I can make it happen.
Right.
With some help. You know, we all need some help.
Yeah, that's an important point. We get coaching for everything else in life except the most important thing in our life to most of us, which is being in a very satisfying, mutually loving relationship.
Exactly. There's nothing better. And sometimes we run from that very thing. And it's self-affirming, and you can grow in that relationship, and it's nourishing when you have the support of a loving partner. And that loving partner is out there. It's just that we have to be able to and willing to let them in. Yeah.
Well, Bari, I'm aware of the time, and we're going to need to wrap up soon. I know we could actually go on for quite a while longer.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy that. However, I think at this point, we better let the audience in on specifically what your gift is. Yes.
Okay. So it is called My Marriage Readiness Assessment. And that it's 10 questions based on the work that I do. And when you take that assessment, you're going to discover why you haven't met the right person. Yes, and
Uh-huh.
what you can do right now to really make that happen. So you're going to, once they take the assessment, they'll receive some feedback that will be eye-opening.
Mm.
And yeah, and then what they can do, immediate things that they can do to really start shifting their own reality, their own dating reality now.
Mm.
Right?
Fantastic. Fantastic. And for the audience, you're going to see right after we complete the interview, um, you'll see a link, and that link will actually, you just need to click on that, put your name and email address, and click on that link, and that'll give you
Yes.
exactly how to get access to this. And I encourage you all to do that, because that's a wonderful place wherever you are to start and to take a look at yourself through that assessment.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And so in closing, I want to thank all of our viewers for being with us today, and I want to thank you, Barry, so much for being with us today and contributing what you have, and also to what you're contributing out there on a daily basis. I appreciate very much the work you're doing, and it's been a real pleasure to have you on board, and I look forward to our continued connection in the future.
Same here, Ellen. Thank you so much for having me. It's delightful to talk to, and thank you for everything you're doing too.
You're welcome. And in closing, I'm Alan Darbonne, and I just want to remind everyone who's viewing that the planet really needs your unique love and your unique light. We can't be complete without it. You're part of it. And we can't heal fully without it. So please just bring your kindness and speak your truth. We all need that. Until next time, bye-bye, everybody.